and a lot of this work was just inspired by quarantine and COVID and anxiety and learning about myself and learning about my spouse, and yeah, I think half of the room I would say is pre-COVID and half of it is post or during, and I'm curious if people can tell which is.
That's what I was like, COVID.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a few here on this little wall, but these three are like pre-COVID. These are after, and these are during. But I'm up for just answering questions if anybody has any.
Hi, happy anniversary. Thank you. You usually work pretty large, right?
Yes.
And so what made you choose these sizes for this?
That's a great question, because I think once COVID and everything shut down and we were just stuck at home, I felt like super anxious, and like a lot of things were just too much for me. Like I couldn't fathom like planning out a really large piece or seeing something to completion that was so large. I was just like, I don't even know how I'm gonna feel by the end of the day. I certainly don't know how I'm gonna feel in a week or two when I'm trying to finish this piece. So part of it was just like practicality of like, I wanna start something today and try to finish it today so that I can honestly just like have something that I can say like I did something, like something got done. And it was also just less overwhelming to like have a little 4-inch, 5-inch thing instead of something like that. Just practical.
That's awesome. And now knowing that you said this was pre and that's during, and that's like, I feel like even non-artists, it's kind of what we were feeling. I feel like 2020 we were kind of like, yeah, let's do it, and then that's what happened.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I feel like these are like calm and hopeful, and these are just like, I would like to hide or like just be in a blanket. Yeah.
So do you paint for models, or probably not on that wall, but do you paint for models or photographs, or just make it up?
I wish I could make it up, but I have to use a reference photo. Yeah, I'm usually the model. I got a lot of questions at the opening about why there were so many paintings of myself, and part of it is just it's easier to like use myself as a model in the moment when I really want to convey a very specific thing. It's just harder, it's just one more layer of a barrier between me and what I'm trying to say, trying to explain something to a model or like capture that in someone else. It's just a little harder for me personally, but I mean, I've had really great models. There's several people in here. 3 different models that I use that were just awesome. Yeah.
What's your background with painting? Like, how did you become an artist, and are you self-taught or did you go to school?
Yeah, so I homeschooled, and I like to say the best thing for me about homeschooling was that it was a lot of self-guided learning. Like we didn't have like really strict curriculums. My parents really just bought me whatever art supplies I wanted, and my dad did metalwork, and my mom let me paint murals on my wall when I was like 8. Like it was just like a free-for-all, honestly, with learning anything I could get my hands on. So I really think all that stuff is cumulative. Like you can't not learn from all these different experiences that you have where, I mean, essentially you're learning about yourself. You're learning about how to have trial and error and how to like fix something and how to like keep going even when you want to like stop doing it. So I feel like that was my biggest teacher, was just growing up that way. But I did take oil painting classes here in Colorado Springs at the Modbo School of Art for at least 2 years, and that just like really.
What school was it?
It was called the Modbo School of Art, but does not exist anymore. But yeah, it's Brett Andrews. He's a local artist in town, and he's still a good friend. But some of these I really like held back on rendering when I normally just go to town, and like the hands and feet, and then the feet on this one, I just did one pass on his feet, whereas normally I would do maybe 4. So I feel like I'm in that process of like deconstructing how I paint, because I'll probably always be drawn to doing like more photorealist, I don't know what to call it, but because I love the trickery of it, I just think it's fun. It's also fun for me to paint, like I enjoy painting that way. So part of it is just process, and I love the process of that more than painting like extremely loose. But I'm trying to experiment.
Were you really sitting up? Just kidding. I have a real question. Do you feel like you know yourself better after painting your stuff sometimes?
I think I would say I know myself better after painting. I can't remember who said this, but they said every painting that's a portrait is a self-portrait of the painter, whether it's of them or not. And so I just think that I think inherently in painting you learn about yourself, and probably a little more so painting yourself. But